Hello, this is Daniel Rosenthal again. I'm just adding another vlog, a video blog. This is again from an email that I wrote March 5th, 2012. So I guess I have a lot of old material. Eventually I'll start putting up more recent stuff. But somebody who I wrote this to actually said it was publishable. They really liked it, so I'm going to share it with you. And it has nothing to do with like the month of November or this time of year, because I wrote it back in March, as I mentioned. Anyways, it's called Cracks in the Foundation. Here is a Purim joke. It's funny because it's true. So an Israeli gets his car stuck in the snow. He gets out and starts screaming. A few weeks later, the snow melts and he retorts, "See, if you yell long enough, you get your way." This sums up life in Israel. Not big on advanced planning, more instinctual and spur of the moment. A comfort level with complete strangers that is both amusing and awkward at the same time. The word for sister is also the same word for nurse. And you can call a grown man doo-doo. Children at around the age of 7 or 9 go to the local grocery stores by themselves. The stores will even sell them beer and cigarettes and regular food too. Religious people serve in the army. They pay taxes. You can get paid to study Jewish texts. It is considered to be a higher level spiritually if you do it for free. People who dress outside, who seem secular, often know more Torah than you might think. They might know more about the Bible than you always get surprised here. The average Israeli knows very little about Arabs, even if they serve near or in Arab areas. It is an extremely complex society in all regards. What follows is some true things that happened to me and some thoughts that I have that spring up due to these occurrences. There is a very deep teaching brought by the Baal Shem Tov that you only experience what you are meant to see or experience, and it is an outer manifestation of your inner soul. In our hastily constructed apartment, we live on the 4th floor, the top level of our building. Our building roof has small leaks, some of which have crept into our walls and caused mold to grow. We have a building association called a Vad Bayit, which is like a homeowners association. We all pay a fixed amount to the building, to the Vad, and this person is supposed to fix building issues, keep the common areas clean, and other building related issues or problems. It is a thankless job and unpaid. Once a year, buildings elect a new Vad. But typically it is only 1 or 2 people who take it on, and they must be owners of their units and speak Hebrew, of course. We moved in 4 years ago, and there has only been one Vad meeting. Now there's a leak in the roof. The owner of our apartment claims it is the Vad's problem to fix, and the Vad says it is the owner's problem. Meanwhile, we have this leak, and the apartment next door has the same problem. Also, it's been incredibly rainy weather, and now a leak has moved to a drip in the common area between my apartment and our neighbors. The neighbors who just moved in are from the USA and are in their late 60s. They have been in the apartment about a month and a half. Last week they left for the USA for 4 to 6 months as they pack up their home in the USA. Very odd. What does this have to do with anything? Not much. Just life in Israel. No one wants to take responsibility for anything, pay for anything, and when you're a new immigrant and or have poor Hebrew, it is even harder. I now understand immigrants to the USA on a whole different level. Fortunately, I'm a legal resident of Israel living in a city that is internationally recognized, internationally recognized Israel. So we don't deal with the army of peace now, with the army or peace now trying to dismantle our neighborhood or city. In fact, supposedly Iran wants to wipe out all of Israel, but on a regular day like today, a person just makes his or her coffee, gets their children off to school, and tries to earn an honest living. In short, I do not feel like there is an immediate threat to my life. The funny thing is, our building, like all new construction since the 1990s, has a sealed room as a part of the apartment. Supposedly, this sealed room is where my wife, myself, and my 3 kids are supposed to go if there would be a missile attack. Why is it funny? Because it's on the 4th floor, facing the street. In other words, if a missile actually hit our building, the sealed room would be a ridiculously unsafe place to be. and a nuclear attack? I really have a hard time imagining life after a nuclear war. I know there are post-apocalypse movies that try to envision life after the bomb, but I'm rather sure if anyone did survive a nuclear attack, life would not look like Mad Max or any other filmatic version or vision. So it is weird to read the internet news about Iran and Israel. It is strange to read about missiles launching from Gaza into Israel and from Lebanon into Israel. It is strange to read about Israel attacking Gaza or attacks at Western Wall only 45-minute drives away and about 20 minutes from my work. It's just not real. I know. People get stoned, youth gets shot by the army, tear gas canisters, and worse seem to happen daily right in my own backyard, so to speak. And yet I sit on an egged bus surrounded by people, completely full of people. The roads are overtaxed with traffic. The guy sitting next to me is asleep. A woman in the back schmoozes on her cell phone, and meanwhile Iran is going to wipe out Israel. It's just not believable. I know every so often there really is a scary article or a YouTube video or a politician or religious figure who starts foaming at the mouth, but I'm telling you straight, it doesn't seem to change a darn thing. Things just keep on going, keep it on. The men sit next to men, the women sit next to women. Nothing changed on the buses. For all the bluster and political speeches and the Secretary of the U.S. having her say, nothing changed. Absolutely nothing changed. Not in Israel, not in Syria. It's got to be at least 50,000, if not more, people have been killed in over a 2-year period. Remember, I wrote this back in 2012, so it was much more. Anyways, but you know what's really important? The new Nike shoe release. People trampled each other to get a new pair of shoes. Wall Street still occupies America and not the other way around. And so it goes. Recently, I've been feeling my paint crack. I've been feeling that I have a leak in my roof. So I went to my vadbayit, my rabbi, and he suggested I try a new shul, a new synagogue. Now let me tell you something very intensely, and it might hurt your feelings. I've never had a rabbi like that. A rabbi telling you to go to a different shul, to a different synagogue? I'm being serious. And of course, if you go to your rabbi and he tells you to go to a different Beit Knesset, you try it. So off I went. One Friday night, it was so hard. I saw people I knew, and most of the people spoke English. And even though it was a different nusach, a different tune, that wasn't the only difference. It's really hard to explain. I mean, there are 40,000 shuls on Dolev alone. This is in Ramat Beit Shemesh Aleph. Of course, I'm exaggerating. So there must be a reason why there are so many. Okay, they're not 40,000, but you get the idea. So the next week, I tried Friday and Saturday at this shul that the rabbi told me to go to. It just wasn't the same. What was I going to do? The same rabbi who agreed with my wife about checking out a new town called Ma'ale Adumim, which we did during the week. I didn't like it. What am I going to do? Then I get this email from my wife. What a holy person. She wanted me to know that a specific rabbi was in town, and he'd be at the shul that I'd formerly been going to for 2 years, where the rabbi told me I should go somewhere else. Then a strange thing happened. The rabbi called me. Now, I'm not going to tell you who this rabbi is for a reason, but this is the second time he has called me out of the blue. Why was he calling? In his broken English, he was born and raised in Israel. His wife is American, but his English is not his strong suit. Anyways, the rabbi called me to tell me that he has set my family up with another family from the shul for a meal. Now, I know you're laughing and I'm leaving out a lot of details, but he really did make the phone call. I was actually shocked. Why is the rabbi calling us to set us up with a family that we don't know? Why, after 2 years of not connecting to any families, why is this happening now? I told my wife, I have no idea why the rabbi is calling us and setting us up with another family. Do you want to go? She agreed, and we progress, and the week progresses on to Shabbat. As we got closer to Shabbat, the weather was not improved. So my wife calls the home that we're going to and tells the mother of the house that if it's really pouring outside, that we're not going to make it. The weather held out. Friday night, I went back to the shul that I had taken a rabbinical advised break from. I walked in and go immediately to the rabbi. I thanked him for all his efforts, for calling my family, for calling this other family, for calling around to Ma'ale Adumim. I forgot to mention that he took his time to call people in Ma'ale Adumim on our behalf. It turns out that his wife's uncle is a rabbi of a shul there. I basically thanked him until we started to for prayer service, and it was time for our prayers. And I went to my regular seat, which was still available. I have a long-standing personal custom that if I'm late and someone is in my spot, I never say anything, and I just sit somewhere else. If I get to Beit Knesset early, before the services start, I'll ask somebody to move if they're in my spot. Anyways, this isn't about my little idiosyncrasies, it's about Israel. So I'm back in my seat. The guy next to me is saying saying a special part of his prayers, as is the Beit Knesset of the synagogue's custom, and he is Sephardi, and many Sephardi Jews say this type of prayer at this particular time of the Beit Knesset. So he doesn't stop. He doesn't shake my hand. Later, he asked me where I was. I told him that the rabbi suggested I check out another synagogue. His first question was, "How was it?" Look, how do I answer that question? It's like when someone asks you how your day was. They aren't really expecting a real answer. In the religious world, we have this amazing answer, Baruch Hashem. Blessed is the name of God. Look, how do I answer that question? You could say anything. Here, try Iran got nuclear missiles. Baruch Hashem. You could say 1,000 people died in Syria. Baruch Hashem. Now, okay, that's not true. If you hear someone dies, you say Baruch Hashem be'emet. The God is the true judge. Anyways, so this guy sits next to me. He asks me this really loaded question. How was it? How was this other Beit Knesset that I went to? Before I could really answer that, I'm going to tell you an odd thing that happened at the synagogue that the rabbi suggested. I walk in and I see a few people I know. Now, I don't have a seat in this shul, in this Beit Knesset, and of course I don't want to sit in anybody else's place. So I take in the seat in the back row and just wait for the beginning of the Beit Knesset. It was a Friday afternoon, just before Shabbat. The Beit Knesset was quickly filling up. Everybody was talking before davening. Now this Beit Knesset is Nusach Ashkenaz, which technically is probably the Nusach I should daven, but for various reasons, I prefer Nusach Sfard. Since I wasn't raised by my father or my stepfather with a specific Nusach, I had some religious freedom, so to speak. My kids, they get stuck with my Nusach. Anyways, I see this guy I know who normally davens at one of the other 9 million Beit Knessets in our town, and I ask him, "Hey, great to see you. What brings you here? Don't you normally go to the Beit Knesset, the really amazing Beit Knesset of prayer and love?" No, it's not really called that. So this guy says to me, "Well, the rabbi is out of town, so I thought I'd take a break and daven here." I'm being serious. This is what people say to each other when rabbis aren't around. I'm sorry if that hurts your feelings. It must be really hard to be a rabbi. I had nothing to say about this. I mean, seriously, I was actually hurt by this, and I'm not even a member of the shul. So I tried to judge this guy favorably and change the subject to, "How's work?" You know, anything more parv than going to Beit Knesset as a break from another Beit Knesset. Then the clap, the bang on the Beit Knesset bima, and everybody started their prayers. Now, most of the fish in the pond started to swim. I mean, shuckle, because if you don't, they kick your kids out of school. I mean, I guess it could be worse. If it was Iran, they'd hang you. Of course, I'm kidding. They don't kick your kids out of school for not shuckling. At least I don't think they don't. So a good number of the fish, kept on talking, quietly of course. Oi, the rabbi sent me here. He must know something I don't. But I'm really, really sensitive to people talking during the time of prayer. It's like smoking. So I try to judge favorably. Maybe they're talking about where the normal person, where the chazan is, where's the normal person who says the prayers, or maybe it's an emergency. But the same group kept on talking, so I moved. Oi. The Friday night that I went back to the Beit Knesset that I had been going to for 2 years, no one talks during the Beit Knesset. No one during the davening, ever. I'm serious. They talk a lot before, but they do talk a lot. But once they start the prayer service, there is no more schmoozing. I'm not saying everyone is swimming, but no one is talking. The rabbi, the one who told me to go somewhere else, you can hear his voice. He probably has been saying the same words for 50 plus years. Yet you could tell he really wants to connect to the words. Is he swaying? Look, all I could say is he is not a fish. He is a man swimming, trying to get to the source of the water. How could I possibly go anywhere else? Oi! So the rabbi who came to visit, which is why I was back, and he touched my soul so deep. By the time Shabbat was over, I wanted to do a real teshuvah. I really wanted to reconnect to Judaism. I wanted to restart to swim like a man and not like a fish. But bad habits are hard to break. Maybe the rabbi sent me away to break my habits, to enable me to see a bigger picture. Maybe this other Beit Knesset is a good place for me and my family. I've got to give it time. It's the same water, the temperature is a bit different. By Sunday I was back, still struggling with my prayers, with saying more of the official words saying the official words that are written in the textbook that I chose, the nusach that I chose. I'm still contemplating about praying about my children, about my wife, about Iran, about my mom, about how tired I am, about somehow managed to fritter away my whole morning. I've got the koach, I've got the strength to go to work, but sitting in yeshiva or morning seder for 1 hour, forget it. I start to beat myself up. My negative tape comes on. Or at least I got my tefillin on today. God woke me up. There's a reason for that. Yeah, I have bad habits, and God knows that more than I know that. The roof still needs to be fixed. I have a Vad Bayit who cares about my building. I've got an owner who loves me. The only person who could truly fix my own leak is myself.